Good evening, and welcome to tonight's Reading Select Board Candidate Forum, sponsored by the Reading Recap. My name's Marianne Downing, and I've been a Reading resident for 25 years. I've been on town meeting for 10 years and FinCom for 6 years. I'm here to moderate and ask the questions of the forum. Chuck Robinson was going to be moderator. He had a family emergency and couldn't be here, and we all wish him well with that. I know he would be here if he could. We have here three candidates for Select Board: Carlo Bacci, Sal Bramante, and Tony DiRezzo. I think they've all met me in person outside of this forum, so hopefully I'll be a friendly and familiar face. Tonight's questions will focus on powers and responsibilities of the Select Board as outlined in the Reading Home Rule Charter, as well as important community issues that have been on the horizon ahead of us and also over the past few years, and which are ongoing and just general community topics. First, some housekeeping. Similar to other forums, each candidate is going to have 2 minutes for an opening statement. They will have 2 minutes to answer each question, and we will rotate through the candidates. They will have 2 rebuttals of 1 minute each, which I will keep track of. Marcel Dubois, who's off camera, is going to be our official timer, and all candidates will have a 2-minute closing statements. We will start our opening statements in a certain order. I believe it's the order the candidates are on the ballot, and we will have our closing statements in reverse order. So let's begin with our opening statements, starting with Carlo Bacci.
Thank you, Marianne. And my name is Carlo Bacci. I'm seeking a third term for the Select Board. I've been here about 17 years. I live on Main Street with my family, my wife Erin, my 3 daughters, Abigail, Sarah, and Sophia. They're not all home right now, but Sophia is a freshman in college, and she is the only one home right now. I've been on town meetings since 2019. I was chair in 24 to 25. I was chair of the SWET committee. I am a current member of the CPA committee. I've been a business owner for over 35 years. We were former owners of the Chocolate Truffle right there on Main Street. We sold that aspect of the business 11 years ago. Currently, we are chocolate manufacturers in Swampscott, Mass. We make a giant peanut butter cup under the CB Stuffer brand. I've coached youth soccer. I've supported many events, been part of many events over the years, and really have enjoyed my time in Reading. I ran in 2019, was not successful, ran in 2020, and hence here I am again after winning re-election in 23. So over the past 6 years, and my first meeting literally was on March 17th, right amongst the shutdown, and then it was a year of COVID, pretty much of Zoom meetings, which was challenging for the town and challenging for the board, but we got through it. So a few things that I'm proud of is I've been trying to keep our water and sewer rates as low as possible. Supporting second meters for residents, that was a big win for us. I never supported the parking kiosk as a select board member, and then I'm glad we shut them down to benefit seniors and the business owners. And very proud of my work on the turnback track, supporting and advocating for them. And thankfully, the MBTA pulled back. I'm proud to reshape RCTV, give them a 3-year contract. I'm proud of the trash contract that we negotiated, and I look forward to your vote on April 7th. Thank you.
Okay, next we'll have Sal Bramante.
Hi, I'd like to thank everybody for putting on the forum tonight. I've been a Reading resident for 39 years, graduated at RMHS in 1991. I live in town with my wife Heather, my family, my oldest daughter Emma, Salvi Jr., AJ, and Juliet. 2 have graduated from the RMHS already, and 2 are still in the high school. Why I want to be on the select board is I'm very invested in town, and I care greatly for the community. I have about 20 to 25 relatives in town, ranging from 15 to 91 years old. So that gives me a great multi-generational view at the town and what all the generations need. My work experience is I'm currently the director of operations for a $280 million company, seafood company in Boston, where I I'm responsible for contract negotiations, all cutting costs, budgets, all aspects of the business. Um, if elected, I draw on all my town experience, from Board of Health. I'm on the Board of Health right now, in town meeting for 4 years, where I've been the precinct chair for all 4 years. Um, so I'd like to earn your vote on April 7th. My website is salforreading.com, and my Facebook page is Sal for Reading. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sal. And now Tony DiRezzo.
Thank you, Marianne. My name is Tony DiRezzo. I'm running for a position on the select board. That's why I'm here. Um, I've spent over 23 years working for a material handling company with offices between Maine and New York, covering everybody from the technicians to the CEO. I've had to work with a lot of large personalities, and I'd like to take many of those lessons that I learned at that company and bring them into the select board. One of those lessons is perspective, to understand, make sure that people understand the importance and sometimes the not so much importance of certain conditions. I have a history of making decisions based on facts and data based upon, as opposed to, opposed to emotions. I'd like to take just a couple of moments to correct a few things that I did say at last week's forum. First, I'd like to thank Carlo for correcting me that there is officially no MMA liaison on the select board. Also, I'd like to point out that I made a mistake with when I did my root cause analysis. I forgot one of the principles of root cause analysis is you don't blame people. You look at the processes, the procedures, the communications, and you work on correcting the problem such that it doesn't occur again. I should never have blamed anyone that is not part of your root cause analysis. I fully take that on for myself. I shouldn't have. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm going to start this forum off on an easy, hopefully an easy and positive note, though maybe unintentionally this might be the most difficult question. This question came from a good friend of mine as a suggested question when she learned I was going to moderate. So just to start the forum off, I'd like each candidate to say something positive about each of the other candidates tonight. And I'll start with Carlo.
Sure, thank you. I guess I'll start with Sal. I've gotten to know Sal the past several years through town meeting, through appointing him on the Board of Health. And he's from Medford like I am. I graduated with his cousin, Peter, who also lives in Reading. So I consider Sal a friend, but I don't know him that well. I know his wife. One of his daughters went to school with my daughter. So I congratulate him for running. It takes a lot of guts to run. And he's an all-around great guy. Knows a lot of people in town, very personable. As far as Tony, I have known Tony from a distance for a very long time on CPDC and town meeting. I joined town meeting in 2019, and Tony was already there. Strong advocate, voicing his opinions and asking a lot of good questions on town meeting. And same thing with CPDC. My first several years in office, I've been the liaison to CPDC. I still am the liaison to CPDC. And Tony was always very thorough and knowledgeable about all the projects, and very diligent, as were the other members. But Tony was always digging a little bit deeper. So thank you.
Thank you. And Sal?
I'll start with Carlo. Same. Our kids went to school together. I've known them for a while here. We intertwined in a bunch of groups in Reading, and from Medford, we all have same group of friends. It takes a lot of courage to run for select board. I admire that in them, and it's not always peaches and cream. Actually, it's probably never peaches and cream. But that's I definitely admire Carlo for what he does and what he puts forward for the town.
Thank you.
Tony. It actually this is funny because the other day we had a meet and greet together. It's probably one of the first times when opposing sides in Reading, because everybody knows there's two sides, I guess. I guess we reached across the aisle and had a meeting together, and I really appreciate that, Tony. Thank you.
Thank you. And Tony, your thoughts?
All right. Well, Carl, you are dedicated and passionate. You can sometimes see your hot Italian blood come out, but you want what's best for the town. Sal, I think you bring a lot of experience. Um, as you said, you've been running the $280 million. I didn't know it was that big fish company. I also think that you would bring a lot of new ideas, and I feel that while people may incorrectly say it, I think that you are your own man and can make your own decisions. I would like to say that Karen Herrick has an extensive knowledge of government, that she is also a candidate who's passionate and dedicated. And that's what I have for everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you. I wish she could have been here. I would have liked to heard her insights. Okay, so this next question, they've given me a round robin. We're going to go in order. So Sal will be the first person to answer here. So Article 14 of the town meeting warrant has been a hot topic in Reading for the past, I would say mostly the past couple of weeks, but even the past couple of months. And it's been discussed by multiple boards like, the select board, recreation, and even FinCom, where we were divided, and as well as on social media. All of you were town meeting members as well, so you're going to get to have your vote on that. But as a potential select board candidate, I'd like to know, what are your views on Article 14?
So thanks for the question. I totally support unified sports. It's a necessity in town. There's so many kids that benefit from the program. I really think that we have to find a steady funding source for unified sports. I know there's two options, and one is the Burbank Arena. I don't think it should be funded on a if the Burbank Arena does well basis, then we fund it. I think it should be a steady budget item. But if it's not a steady budget item, I do support the Burbank Arena option. It has to get funded no matter what. It's going to town meeting on April 7th. Oh, sorry, in April. And April 7th in my mind. In April, and I will be voting for it, and I hope it passes unanimously. Thanks.
And Tony, your thoughts?
Thank you. Well, I spoke with somebody who was very passionate and dedicated to Article 14. And the more I thought about it, I understand what the real issue is. It isn't so much that they want a dedicated funding. They want to make sure that this unified sports are included every year in the budget. And the problem is, the correct way of doing it is through the school department adding it as a line item to their budget. It's then up to town meeting to find the money. But as we saw in the budget this year, the school department did not include that money. And that's part of the issue here. If we really want unified sports, we need to make sure that the new school superintendent, it's one of their priorities, and that they include it in their budget every year. Allow town meeting to find the money to cover it. That's town meeting's job. But it's the job of the school committee and the superintendent to ensure that it is on their budget and it's actually going to be implemented. Right now, the plan is for that money from Burbank or even free cash to be changed over to the school, but there's no guarantee that it's actually going to be used for unified sports.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want unified sports, it's got to come from the top, and it's got to be included.
Okay. And Carlo, your thoughts?
Thank you. I don't disagree with either Tony or Sal on this topic, but since I'm currently on the board, I have a unique perspective, and I will fully be supporting Article 14. So let's start off there. And the reason I'm supporting it, this all came about because we needed some parking at Burbank Ice Arena. And Burbank Ice Arena has been vilified from the person who's not here right now. And as part of the negotiation for some parking for pickleball in our new active living center, the Reading Ice Arena Authority, through Carl McFadden, asked to fund unified sports. So it was an ask. I've heard people say they're telling us to do this. No, they're asking us, and let's have a discussion at town meeting. So for me, like I've said in the past at our meetings, it's another tool in the toolbox. Yes, we need direct funding for unified and adaptive sports, and I hope that happens. But right now, it hasn't happened. We have some funds, had some funds, but times are tough. And for me, this is just another way to fund this program. I know it may not be consistent funding, but at least it's funding that we can use for either extra things or more games or however it can be used. So I fully support it. It's a shame Burbank keeps getting vilified by my colleague. They do nothing but good for this town. So I really support it, and I hope it passes at town meeting. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Carlo. The next question, we're going to start with Tony. So, one important role of the select board is as road commissioners for the town, including regulating parking, traffic, road safety, and traffic issues. Assuming you were elected and had that role, I'd like your thoughts on the proposed Walker's Brook Drive redesign, especially in view of the formal announcement this week about Trader Joe's coming to the area. So now we have a third major supermarket on that same road. Do you think that the proposed redesign, which per my understanding is cutting 2 lanes down to 1 and adding bike lanes and bigger sidewalks, do you think that's going to address the level of traffic that this corridor is going to face in the coming years?
Thank you for that question. And being one of the property owners at the edge of the Walkersburg Drive,
That's why
I've
I
been
gave you this
very
question
interested.
first. Yes.
I think they need to confirm, because I do not believe that the traffic numbers included a additional supermarket.
Mhm.
And we do know that based on their history, Trader Joe's brings in a lot of traffic. Or as somebody once said, they always go to these nice places where the parking lots are terrible. That parking lot, I think, really needs to be redesigned for it. But having said that, I did speak with a lot of people. I didn't understand why they were so adamant about the sidewalks and why they needed them, because we do have sidewalks there today. But it turns out, after talking with people, they don't like to walk on those because they are right up next to the edge of the road. They want a little bit more space. I think if we look at the sidewalks, we may have to have sidewalks on only one side of the street, which we probably can get away with since there's not that many places to walk to.
Mhm.
Even I, who am literally across the street, will on occasion walk to Market Basket, but I do my grocery shopping once a week like everybody else. So I'll take a car. Yeah, that seems stupid to me, but I can't carry back, 5 gallons.
Yeah.
So, but what I do have is trust in our town staff that they are looking at it and making sure everything is going to work. They have been asking for input from everyone, and it's been a two-way communication.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And Carlo, your thoughts?
Thank you. Yeah, Tony brought up a lot of great points with the addition of Trader Joe's. So that's been officially announced by the town, by Trader Joe's. So if anyone doesn't know this already, yes, Trader Joe's is coming. We don't know when it's going to open, but hopefully this year, I'd imagine that'd be the case. As far as Walkersbrook goes, that's a very integral part of potentially Eastern Gateway, obviously Walkersbrook area in general right now. A lot of businesses over there, a lot of traffic. You have Home Depot, Jordan's, the golf place, the restaurants, Staples, Verizon. I mean, not Staples, Anthony's Coal Fire. So I think, yes, it has to be looked at again with the addition of Trader Joe's, unless they already knew this. I know bike lanes are very popular. That's a very busy and dangerous road over there leading to the highway. So I know that connects us to Wakefield. So I'm hoping a lot of thought will go into that for public safety and for the safety of any cyclists. I've biked from Reading to Lake Quannapowitt and enjoy that from time to time. I used to live in Wakefield, enjoyed the lake very much. We are so close to the lake, and I'm sure a lot of us use it. But as far as that corridor goes, it's a very busy, I don't want to say dangerous, but you have a gas station over there, you have Market Basket over there, you have the bank, you have so much going on. And people coming off the throughway there. So I'm hoping they'll take a hard look at it. I know a lot of people are against the road diet in Reading on Route 28, but I think that's worked out pretty well. So I'm correlating that to this, but I don't think they're calling it a road diet. But public safety is paramount for me, and I agree with the sidewalks. It is very narrow over there. So hopefully it'll get done right the first time. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Carlo. And Sal, your thoughts?
Yeah. So I went to the meeting on Walker's Brook at the library. They had a bunch of good options, but obviously Trader Joe's was not in the picture at the time, from the pictures that I saw. I really, with three huge retailers there, and Trader Joe's draws an enormous following. There's no way that we could cut those down to one lane. Um, the Sorry, there's definitely not enough. One lane wouldn't take all the traffic. I think it would be a huge safety risk, and obviously safety is paramount in that area. The maybe they could steal some room and make a bike lane in Boston, where I work. They have bike lanes on the sidewalk. I don't know how much room you need for a bike lane on a sidewalk, but that could be an option. But I would say, I would be against bringing it down to one lane in each direction.
All right, thank you. Okay, now that you're all warmed up, I think we're ready for some big topics,
Here we
capital
go.
B, capital T. So this one we'll start with Carlo again. The select board is the town body that gets to set the amount of the operating override. We're not even presuming whether there'll be an override. I think we all know it's needed. FinCom has been told that it's going to be on the ballot in fall of 2026. So what factors would you consider in determining an amount for the override? And if you're willing to do so today, do you have any sense of what an amount would be? You don't have to give that, but I want to know the factors that you would take into account.
Yeah, thank you. I don't want to scare anyone on a number, but I think an override is coming, just like winter is coming again next year. But at the interview for Jane Wellman the other night, I asked her about the override, and she talked about it a little bit. And one of her answers was one of the answers to my questions was, I said, if the override fails, are you open to readjusting staff, laying people off? And I don't want to quote her, but I'm pretty sure she said absolutely, or she'll consider it and look at it. So maybe not absolutely, but many towns have passed overrides. Many towns have failed overrides. Winchester just failed their override. So I don't know what's in store for us. I think operationally, we're using free cash at about $6 million a year the past several years. So I think that's a number that we should look at. But we need to cut costs. Under our current chair, Chris Haley, we've brought a lot of things forward to try to help with the budget this past year on the select board that we haven't done before. So I think, when everything works out with Jane, her and her staff and Sharon have to really take a hard look at our budget. We may not get every grant that we want. We've gotten a lot of grants over the years, and town staff has done a great job getting grants. So I don't have a number. I know the big ones have been failing. So when we had this before, we had a bigger number, I think 9 million. And the last override we passed about 6 with a more targeted approach. And I'm just looking at the override from the town side. I don't know what the school's needs are. So from the town side, an override is needed. So I don't know what the school needs. So I just hope it's not a big number. And if it fails, we have to really sharpen the pencil and get to work. So that work should have already started. I was a little disappointed with our previous town manager that he didn't think it was a high priority. Thank you.
Yep, sorry. And Sal, your thoughts?
Sure. So on the override, I mean, we all know it's coming. There's no getting around it. I feel like I've talked to some FinCom members, and it seems like in the 10 to 15 million range. It's a huge number. So I would think, going up to the override, we just look at spending. We really have to go over all our contracts, go over all our budgets, see what we can cut. My personal experience, we just lost. We were a $350 million company, and now we were like a $280 million company. We lost about 80 million in sales last year, and we've had to take really hard looks at budgets. We've cut some people, so I have a lot of experience in the recent past with this issues. But hopefully we can come to a good number and make Reading still be affordable for all the seniors and all of the residents in Reading. Thanks.
Thank you. And Tony, your thoughts?
Thank you. First off, I want to say that the town accountant, Sharon, and the FinCom have done an excellent job, and the department heads, of keeping our costs down as much as possible. That's why we are getting to that point where they've cut so much we can't afford to cut much more. Having said that, obviously, whatever the override amount is that we need to at least maintain minimum standards, we should be looking at. We should be looking at an amount so that we don't have to come back a year later or 2 years later. So we should have an amount that covers us for the next 2 to 3 years easily. But in the meantime, we need to start looking at how we can avoid future overrides by increasing our tax base, increasing in the number of individual, either single family homes or multifamily homes we can build in town. There's not much land left here. So we now have to start getting creative on ways that we can expand what we have.
Okay. Thank you. So I guess the next question we're going to start with Sal, and I'm going to just go. I'm going to go in a little bit different direction. I hate to have to ask this kind of question. So tension on the select board has been a major issue going back nearly 10 years, though in recent years it seems to have reached greater levels. How do you think, if you were elected to the select board, you could help the select board handle disagreements among members to maintain public trust and ensure productive decision making?
Okay, thanks for the question. So, I mean, I think I've already shown just in this election that I can talk to anybody. I, you know, I there's no lines that I won't cross to get the job done. My personality is it's very very mellow. I don't have an ego. My mind is focused on just getting the job done. I really feel like there's nothing that would stop me from negotiations with other board members. Um, you know, just hard facts. I don't. I really, like I said before, sides. I don't see sides. I only see, one. Reading is one community, and I would just be working for the best of the whole community.
Right.
That's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Tony, your thoughts?
Thank you. Well, from my experience, and I've had excellent managers in my life, they've led by example. And rule number one is you don't attack people. You may attack thoughts, ideas, plans, etc., but you leave the personalities out of it. And sometimes when somebody accidentally goes over the line, you gently remind them that they've crossed it, and usually they'll take a step back and go, yep, I made a mistake, let's continue on. It's not impossible for the current members of the board to get along. Carlo was very generous and kind to me when he pointed out that I made a mistake. Did he jump down my throat on it? No. He was polite. But you've got to be able to forgive and move forward so that you can do that to people that you've had disagreements in the past. And basically, you build trust slowly and surely by leading by example, by making sure that you're polite, and when you make a mistake or you accidentally go over the line, you correct yourself and you move forward.
Thank you. And Carlo, finally you.
Yeah, thank you. Tony, I wish those words were true for our board right now. I've been on the board for 6 years. I've had different chairs over the years. I was chair for one of those years. And yes, I've been having some meet and greets around town. And this has been one of the topics. It's embarrassing to watch the board sometimes. And I don't disagree. I can't disagree. So to me, respect garners respect, right? If you watch the first 5 to 10 minutes of the meeting, we're not being recorded, but we're on air. The four of us that are there, who are always early, are talking, interacting, talking about our week, what meetings we went to. We're not talking about town business. We're just having conversations, ribbing each other, why were you at this meeting? Why were you at that meeting? And just getting along great. But that never happens when the dynamic is 5 of us. And I treat people like they should be treated, but it's been unfortunate that we've had so much animosity and we're so divisive lately. And I've apologized. I've made mistakes. I'm not perfect. Other people have made mistakes and apologized, and that's the way it should be done. There's people who have never apologized for being late, didn't show up to the retreat, didn't apologize for not coming to the trash contract, which we needed 5 people for, but we got it done with 4 of us, and cordially and with respect. So, as you can see, the other candidate running is not here. And so, what does that tell you? I don't know what it tells you, but people are sick of it, and I fully agree. And if anyone out there is going to vote, please vote for me. I have the experience. I can be respectful. Like I said, the 4 of us get along great, and you can ask any one of us, and they'll give you the same answer. We all get along great, but it's just the 4 of us, unfortunately.
Okay. We'll go back to a little more direct on select board business because we'll start with Tony. This was a topic in recent select board meetings, and you had alluded a little bit to it in the last meeting when you mentioned the MMA. The point why MMA came up was because of the Massachusetts Municipal Empowerment Act. I wanted to spit that out correctly, which, if enacted, would give the Reading Select Board the power to put before town meeting certain new taxes, such as an increased lodging tax, which isn't that applicable to Reading, an increase in the meals tax up to a full 1% from the current 0.7%, and a 5% surcharge on the excise tax. So my question is, what criteria would you consider in deciding whether or not you would support any or all of these if the state allows them?
That would be part of the override discussion. If we're going to try and protect our elderly and the most vulnerable of us, and we don't want to increase our real estate taxes by as much, we would have to look at other sources. At the end of the day, we're going to get in taxes a certain base amount. Whether that comes all from real estate taxes or from an increase in excise taxes or the meals tax, does it really matter at the end of the day? This is what we need to operate. And if we can move around the money, sometimes you can get money from the left hand for the right. It's all the same bucket at the end of the day. It all comes in to be used by the town. So yes, I would include those as part of the override discussion.
Okay, thank you. And Carlo, your thoughts?
Yeah, again, this topic came up recently at a meeting where, unfortunately, the way it come up is that Karen wanted to vote on this on behalf of the board because she was at the conference, and she asked Chair Haley if she could vote on it, and Chris at the time wasn't familiar with all the language in the act because there's a lot of good things in there. It's not just about these taxes. There's a lot about affordable housing, about roads. There's a lot of great things in there about seniors. So, but Chris said, sure, let me take a look at it. And, in the document was the potential for select board, town councils to increase taxes on their residents because the state doesn't want to do it. So let's make that clear. The state is trying to deflect from raising taxes by giving us the power to raise taxes on our residents and our seniors and people who are vulnerable. So for me, I wouldn't support these taxes because we have to do a better job as a town to not raise taxes on people, just like the CPA tax. I was on the CPA committee. It was very hard for me to look at my fellow members and say I'm not supporting this at town meeting or at the ballot box, even though I understand the benefits, but it's another tax. So if we didn't have the big debt exclusions coming up and the override coming up, sure, we have to manage the town with taxes and revenue and other sources, but to increase taxes on our residents at this time, I don't think is the right too. And just to end it, 2 Salem lawmakers are also proposing, putting a bill forward to increase our sales tax up to 5%. So when does it end? We're not called Taxachusetts for no reason. So I will not support any of the new taxes if given the power, and I will assure the residents that I will not do that. I will look at other ways to run the town, but not to increase taxes because we already pay enough. Thank you.
Okay, and finally, Sal?
I'm totally against this tax. I just feel, with the CPA, the override, the kill 'em and the senior center debt exclusion, it's 100% the wrong time. If we put this up against the override, it could kill the override. It's already, the overrides have already been voted down in other communities. So I feel like it muddies the water. People just, are sick of taxes, right? Um, the and To go along with that, the affordability. People haven't even seen the effect of the Killam Senior Center on their tax bills yet. CPA is in the mix if it passes, and the override. If we throw this on top, we'll be pricing seniors out of the town, and I just think it's bad all around. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. So we're gonna start back with Carlo, and I'll go back to kind of a select board conduct topic, I guess, because this is something I'd like to see a resolution to. Public comment has at times been a source of tension in Reading. At the select board meeting mostly, sometimes it's happened at other meetings, but mostly select board. What changes, if any, would you support to improve how public comment is handled during select board and other meetings, such as policy changes or any other kinds of changes? I've heard some people say, let's operate, Robert's rules or different things like that. What are your thoughts?
I'm first.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
sorry, you are
okay.
first, Carlo.
So, yeah, this year we're doing a little bit differently. I don't know if I've chosen this path in previous years. As far as I've been on the board, we've had public comment at the beginning of the meeting, up to 2 minutes, and sometimes longer, depending on the topic and depending on what topic it is. So I don't really have I just think we need to be respectful. We value the public's input, right? I don't know what I would do if I was chair again, if I would keep the policy that we have now as public comment on every agenda item. I'd have to seriously think about that. But I think a lot of people want to be heard, just like at town meeting. There's 192 of us at town meeting, and not everyone gets up to the microphone, but we all get to vote. So it depends how you want to voice your opinion. So I think we have to be respectful. We have to let people speak, keep them to a time limit, and I want people to feel comfortable. A lot of people get nervous public speaking. I'm not the greatest public speaker myself, but I know it takes a lot to get up there to the podium and talk to us and ask for things. So it's usually not a two-way communication, and it shouldn't be. They're bringing things up to us. They're talking about an agenda item. So I don't know how I would handle it in the future, but as far as now, there are some people that speak a lot and criticize the board a lot, and that doesn't help. So I would hope that would change. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I think we need to be more positive on the board, and call us out for our votes. Call us out for if we misspoke. I'm glad Tony mentioned what he brought up earlier, because when I approached him, I was very polite, as he mentioned, and he just misspoke, and that happens. We all misspeak sometimes, and if we tell something that's not true, correct the record. Thank you.
Okay, and Sal, do you have any thoughts?
Could you repeat that question?
Yeah, I'm sorry. So, public comment has at times been a source of tension in Reading. So what changes, if any, would you support to improve how public comment is handled during select board and other meetings?
Okay. So, I guess I think I would go back to only, the beginning 2 minute limit. I don't really like the people coming back up again. I feel there's a lot of smart people in Reading who do a lot of research who definitely deserve to be heard. And nobody should be discounted. Everybody's voice should be heard. But the back and forth, when you can come back up again, it almost turns the meeting into a debate, where it should just be public comment. In the past, I might be wrong on this, but the public could only talk to the select board. It wasn't an interaction, and I think that's the way it should be. There's smart people in Reading. There's very smart people who are very passionate about issues, and like I said, I think they all deserve to be heard, but it should be controlled, and it shouldn't be a back and forth with the select board. That's my opinion. Thanks.
Thank you. And Tony?
Thank you. Well, when I was on the CPDC, we had a lot of public comment.
Yeah.
The only time we really restricted people down to the 2 minutes was for the major projects that had a lot of people who wanted to speak, simply because there was not sufficient time to let everybody. Yes, many people would get up and speak multiple times. I think part of the issue here is that it's not so much the rules and enforcement; it's that um, I, it's that people have questions and they would like to ask the questions, but you can't if you had to ask them before you heard the presentation. Uh, I think if we were to expand out the initial 2 minute to 3 minute, people might have a little more time. I don't think they would go over that much, but it could give that little extra time. For example, 2 minutes here isn't too much for us to get these important parts through. So I think we'd expand it a little more. Also, I would make sure that everybody understood the point of public comment is you're asking the board. You're not addressing anybody else in the room. It's always to the board, and the board has a right to either respond back or to take your comments under advisement. And people have to understand that, and the board has to every time be clear. When we did public comment at CBDC, we had a spiel that we gave every time that got everybody in the right mindset for their comments. Thank you.
Okay. So the next question is going to start with Sal. This question, I believe, was referenced in the previous forum, but I want to go beyond it and hear all of your thoughts, and especially in view of this is about the Pleasant Street Center. And as some of you, if you follow the select board this week, there was a presentation on a survey of uses and more information about the Pleasant Street Center. And it got me thinking, not just, my question to you is, what do you think should be done with the Pleasant Street Center now, while it's still running in the next year, to better serve our seniors, as well as in the future when the seniors have moved on to Recal, especially given, with the presentations we've heard about the ideas, how they're going to run Recal and what needs are there. Just what are your thoughts for now and the future on Pleasant Street Center?
So, this is actually a good question for me. So I feel there should be more support for the seniors in the senior center. My mother has Alzheimer's, and there's not many programs around for seniors with Alzheimer's. My wife has to take her to other communities to go to programs. I really feel the seniors need more support. They've been asking for some money for weeks now, and they haven't got it. I really feel it's kind of disrespectful for all the money and time and volunteer work that they've put into the town. So that's how I think they should improve the senior center right now. After they move out of the senior center, I think they should, I think we should keep the senior center as long as it's financially, sustainable. I think we should have a small study group possibly who can, vet out maybe tenants that would be great. That would be great for that spot. The maybe the food pantry has been mentioned. I also think it would be a great spot for the kids in Reading. They're always running around the town, hanging out in McDonald's, hanging out in CVS, wherever they hang out. It would be a great spot for them to go to, and it would actually it would probably alleviate a little bit of tension on the new senior center, and put less pressure on them. Let the seniors actually have the center. Thanks.
Thank you. And Tony?
So the question is, what are we doing to the building now to help, or the senior center organization?
I guess the question would be, we still have the senior center for another year. I understand that Recal will open in summer 2027.
Mm-hmm.
And the seniors have been coming. They've been coming. I know I've seen them at FinCom. They want more money for elder services. So we're going to be moving on to a new center. So just trying to think, is there anything we can do more for our seniors now with the center? And then what is your vision for the center when they move on?
So for the physical building, I don't think there's much we can do to make their lives better now. I think anything we do, for example, weatherization to make it more energy efficient, which I guess we have a grant that we might apply.
I guess I was thinking as well, if you think of services, but you can think of the physical building.
Right.
I hadn't thought of it that way.
And I wouldn't want to disturb the senior center programming to do the weatherization at this point when they're moving out in a year. Having said that, yes, I agree with Sal. We need to find some free cash, find some grants somewhere so that we can get the programs back up and running that have run out of money this year already. And hopefully, once we get the recal going, we will have those monies. I believe we just had a discussion at from Jane and the select board last week or earlier this week on what it's going to cost to run the new recal center. As for the building itself, we need to understand what the costs of turning this into a usable space will be. We've got a problem with the ventilation that we need to fix. If we can get grants for it, great. But I also remember that we did make a promise to the town. We said that we would look at ways of taking the old senior center and making it allow it to somehow defray the costs of the new recal. And I believe that we should keep our promises. Look at what it's going to cost. Personally, I don't know what you can put there, but I don't have that type of imagination.
Sure. Thank you. And Carlo?
Thank you. Yeah, the Pleasant Street Center is a great old historic building. Emphasis on the old, unfortunately. The building works for the seniors now. It doesn't work great. We all know that. I've known that for at least the 7 years that I've been 6 years on the board and the other year that I ran. But I was there recently, I think this week. Oh, this week's going by so fast. Had some office hours there. I was on the second floor, and there was an arts program going on. And then we're going to change the room over to a lunch and learn. So the current staff, with our interim, Kerry Valley, is doing a phenomenal job. And Jenna and all the staff over there are doing a phenomenal job of doing the best they can for our seniors. And as far as the building goes, if anyone's forgotten about Bill Brown, guess what? Bill Brown is paying attention still. He's a great historian of our town. He cares about the town. And he is paying attention, folks. And he called me today. And I immediately called him back. And he wants us to sell the building to defer some of the cost. And I've been saying, let's keep the building. But he brought up some very good points that I will take under consideration. But I think we need to do RFPs, maybe for both. Maybe we can get more than the appraised value. That was about $1 million or $900,000, which is kind of shocking. But the building needs a lot of work, folks. As Tony alluded to, there was a number thrown out there for the HVAC of like $400,000 for that building. That is an astronomical cost that we would have to incur. That's just one aspect. Never mind tightening up. But the new senior center is triple the size, a lot more expenses. Yes, we did a presentation the other night, a very thorough one actually. A lot of credit to a working group that put a lot of numbers together with staff. So a lot of projections were made. Need a lot of revenue from recreation to support that building. So I think the building's underserved, but right now it's what we have for the next year and several months. Thank you.
Okay, so if we can answer the last question in as fast as we can get to closing statements. I wanted to ask this last question. It would start with Tony.
We're done already? Wow.
Yeah, it's almost. So, Jane, I think you'd be able to do this all quickly. You probably all have thought of this. Jane Wellman was just appointed to be our new town manager this week, but she has not yet had her goals set. So whoever's elected is likely going to be the ones that set her goals. If you were elected, I could say, what are your top 3 goals? I'm not sure if we have enough time.
You can do enough.
Okay. What are your top 3 goals for Jane?
That's a good question. I haven't had the opportunity to actually even think that far ahead.
Oh.
But obviously, if you're the town manager, goal number 1 is promote the town. Goal number 2 is to make sure the staff is adequate and professional and meets their goals. And number 3 at this point is going to be shepherding, I guess, the budget upcoming to make a determination on what we're going to need for an override. And I know I'm saying what we are going to need, and have plans in place if should an override fail.
Okay, thank you. Carlo?
Yeah, I think one of them definitely is walking us through, getting us through the override discussion, and if reelected, I want to be part of that discussion. But looking out for town staff, of course, its residents, its seniors, its veterans, our business owners. I've been a strong advocate for our business owners, and Jane has as well. Jane has been to so many meetings as assistant town manager, and even prior to that, she's been an integral part of the town since she's been here. So her leadership skills, for me, are bar none. She's a great communicator. I think she will communicate and advocate for the town well, represent us well. But as far as goals go, yes, the override, of course, supporting town staff, residents, our volunteers, seniors and veterans, the vulnerable, everybody included. I believe, I'm very confident she will do that. And another goal, I think, is just to make sure Reading can be as affordable as it can be. I know that's override related, but aside from the override, this is a great community to work and live. That's why a lot of us chose here to raise our families, put our kids through school. So Jane, I think, is the right person at the right time to move us forward. And I think her goal should be to look for new ways to generate revenue, bring projects forward, um, get Eastern Gateway a little bit further along. I know that's a visionary thing. Work with RMLD, maybe as a side goal. We have a new director over there. We're going to have a new superintendent very shortly. Working with the schools is another big part of the community. That's what keeps our home values high. And so I think Jane will knock it out of the park, and I want to be there to support her for another 3 years. Thank you.
Okay, and Sal?
Yeah, I've had the chance to talk to Jane a few times, and I think she's a superstar, and we're lucky to have her. I really feel like she the main goals that I would like her to work on is the spending, obviously, just making the town more affordable, bringing in more revenue, attracting small businesses, and whatever we can do to boost the income in town, coming into town. Um, she could also go over contracts. So, in my company we have 16 locations, and we use the buying power to negotiate with big contracts with big vendors. Maybe think outside the box and go to have Stoneham and North Reading. We get in on a trash contract together. If they if it's easier for them to hit one area and they're not going from Reading to, I don't know, Ipswich, it's a lot less cost for them. You can negotiate with the big vendors very easily with more, if they can have more services in one town or one area, they don't have to go as far. So they cut costs, and maybe that could come down to us. Um, I really think they should. I really think we should concentrate on the seniors in town. Just make it affordable for them to stay in their houses. That's a huge, initiative of mine. And the third thing I would say is the two big projects we have going on in town, Killam and the senior center, the new senior center. Just keep a close eye on that. Costs, weekly reports, just no surprises at the end of the projects. And I think she's more than capable of doing all that. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I got through 2/3 of my questions, but we are now time for closing statements. We have gone through the whole hour, and we're going to go in reverse order. So, Tony, you get the first closing statement.
Thank you, Marianne. Thank you, Marcel. Thank you, Chris, who's in the background that nobody can see. First and foremost, everybody in town, please look at your charter that you got mailed. You don't have to send anything back. It will be on the ballot. So just wanted to point that out. Second, I think we covered a lot of issues here today, but there will be so many more that as a select board, we need to resolve. And the only way we're going to be able to do that is if we can start working together, putting aside our differences, attacking the problems at their source, and keeping the personalities out. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and then Sal.
Yep. I'd like to thank everybody tonight. Chris, Marcel, Marianne, thank you for putting this together. I just like to, bring my work experience in, not today's work experience, but my work experience when I was younger. I started out when I was like 5, 6 years old, wiping tools in my father's gas station. I don't know if anybody remembers, but when you got to fill up a tank of gas, you got a Matchbox car. I got paid in Matchbox cars, right? So I've been working my whole life. I'm a dedicated, hard worker. I'll do anything to get the job done. Nothing will stop me from getting the job done. I don't see sides. I don't see. That's all I see is to get the job done for Reading, the best job possible, and most efficient. That's my operations background. Um, so I guess yeah. I hope to get your vote on April 7th. My Facebook page is Sal for Reading, and my website is salforreading.com. You can check out my platforms. You can contact me by email anytime. Thank you.
Thanks. And finally, Carlo.
Thank you. Thank you to Reading Recap for putting this on for the second year in a row. Thank you to Marcel, Marianne, my fellow candidates who are here. Reading is a great place to work and live. We have an outstanding public safety department. I've been proud of my 6 years. I'm glad we finally put Killam in our 60 plus community as a priority. I'm glad we've welcomed so many new businesses, Virginia's Cafe, De Blasi soon to open, Bean and Barrel soon to open, Oasis Breakfast Cafe soon to open on Haven Street, Champions Golf at Walker's Brook, Trader Joe's, very exciting, also at Walker's Brook. And I'm sure I'm missing a few other new businesses that have come to town or are coming to town. But very proud of those accomplishments. And again, I'll reiterate, I will not support any new taxes in town, including the CPA tax. So, like I said earlier, the four of us get along great in town on the board. Well, four of us get along great. And my colleague, Karen Rose Gillis, who I get along with great, reminds me all the time of, don't dwell in the past. Don't go in the past. But unfortunately, the past matters. It's hard to erase history. And there's been a lot of animosity on the board. But I do want to move forward. I don't want the board to be an embarrassment. I think we can work together. But we need to be better stewards of the select board. So I'm glad of a lot of things that I've done. And I also want to put forward that I'm going to make a commitment to get a farmer's market to Reading if reelected. Even if not reelected, I'm going to meet with Kevin McCarthy. He reached out to me. And for me, it's a little embarrassing that we don't have a farmer's market on the common. So I'm wholeheartedly going to push that. I think it's a need, not a want for our community. I'm also going to keep pushing for the legacy of Nelson Burbank. I want to have a day of dedication to him and name the road after him. So please go vote on April 7th. Go to voterspotlight.com for more information. And my website is carlo4selectboard.com. And get out there and vote. Early voting starts on Saturday through Thursday at Town Hall. And thank you for watching. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all. Thank you to all the candidates for your thoughtful participation tonight. And thank you for everyone here who's helped making this happen, and to everyone watching at home. Thanks for being part of this conversation, whether directly or indirectly. Forums like this only work when candidates and community show up with curiosity, respect, and a commitment to understand and discuss the important issues facing our town. The Select Board plays such a critical role in shaping our future, and your engagement and all the great thoughts I've heard from the candidates tonight reflect the values and priorities of the people. I wish I could vote for all of you because I think you all did great. I encourage all residents to continue learning about the issues, to talk to one another, and most importantly, to vote. As Carlo alluded to, voting is starting soon. Early voting starts Saturday at Town Hall from 9 to 5. And if you go to readingma.gov and go to the under departments, if you do the drop down elections, you can get all the full election information, including the last days to request an absentee ballot or to register to vote. I think you can still do that. And election day, if nothing else, will be Tuesday, April 7th, 2026 at the Field House in Reading Memorial High School. On behalf of everyone involved in organizing tonight's event, thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Thanks, Marianne.
Thank you.
Thank you.